My noodle just a regular.
I think the homemade noodles.
Yeah. Sure. Can you start with the
Yeah, I think that's... Thank you.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Hi, it's Hochi with TaiwaneseAmerican.org. I'm with a special friend of mine, Lisa Lee, who you should know, but maybe you don't because she does a lot of work behind the scenes. Now, Lisa is a former publisher of Hyphen magazine, one of the few Asian American print publications out there, and recently she was also awarded with the Asian Pacific American Heritage Awards Emerging Leader Award, and a couple of years ago she was also awarded on AngryAsianMan.com's one of 30 most influential Asian Americans under the age of 30. So together we are here having dinner. Thanks for joining me, Lisa.
Thanks for having me.
So I thought we could, just chat a little bit about some topics of interest. And one topic I was just thinking about was just the general topic of Asian American activism. And we as Taiwanese Americans, how we can be more active in the community. What are your thoughts about Asian American activism?
That's a really, really broad topic, but a good one. I feel like a lot of the things that I did, that I got involved with, were simply because of a desire to change the current status quo. So there was that, and then there was also just the curiosity of, I wonder why things work the way they do. So I don't think I really thought too much about it, but I think that's very characteristic of our generation, though. It's like something is not quite right or something doesn't seem right, and then therefore you want to go and change it.
Yeah.
So, for example, with Hyphen, it didn't seem right to me that we didn't have an Asian American voice in mainstream media. And on top of that, I really loved photography, art, design. I loved connecting with people, so it was just a perfect fit.
Yeah.
And same thing with ThickDumplingSkin as well, the website that I launched back in February. It was not right to me that we as a population of people have never discussed body image issues, eating disorders, even though it was very rampant in our community.
Yeah.
So Len and I just decided that something should be done, and we did something about it.
Now, we'll come back to that topic in a second. I think a lot of our viewers would be really curious about your background, because I know you're a Taiwanese American, have a Taiwanese American identity, but it's also very unique and interesting. So maybe tell us a little bit about your background, your family, your heritage.
Sure. Well, my parents, both of them, came from relatively larger families. My mom is the youngest of 5. My dad is the middle of 3. But both of them were born in Taiwan, whereas their siblings were born in China. And I grew up there, lived there until I was about 9 years old. And then my family packed up and moved to South Africa. People always ask, were your parents missionaries? Were they doing business, or what prompted the move? And to be honest, I don't really have a clear idea. I think my parents weren't really digging the traditional Chinese education system. My older brother got in trouble a lot as a kid, and once you you get blacklisted, then you get blacklisted for the rest of your educational career. So that was one of the reasons that prompted my parents to just pack up and move to South Africa.
So you spent a lot of your early years in South Africa. So it's always interesting because I always think for our identity development, a lot of it is shaped by who you're surrounded with. As a minority, perhaps, as an Asian American, for me, but for you, for the first 14 years of your life, it was in South Africa. So what are your memories of that, and how did that shape your identity?
It was interesting. When I first moved there, it was right before the apartheid ended. So I remember going to school with a lot of white kids. And then right after the apartheid, that was when I started interacting with South Africans, black South Africans. I was fortunate enough to go to a pretty international high school. So we had, students from Mozambique, Botswana, all of the surrounding countries, and it was more accepting. I think the vibe there was really good. But I definitely got the sense that you either belong to the white group or you belong to the black group. It was a very sort of bipolar state, and you couldn't really have an Asian American identity. I was one of the, I think, 10 kids in my school who were, of like Asian descent, and that included Japanese and Koreans and etc. So that was very interesting for me growing up. I just didn't really understand, when people would throw sort of like racial slurs, I didn't understand why. And it took a while, it really didn't, it wasn't until college here in the States that I started to have more of an understanding of the Asian American identity and what it means to be Asian American.
And then you spent many years actually working at Hyphen magazine, doing all this great work.
Yeah.
Which, I'm a big fan of Hyphen magazine and all this Asian American stuff.
Thank you.
And oh my gosh, some food has arrived.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
So let's talk about Hyphen magazine while we're eating or while we're admiring our food.
Yeah. Hyphen was great. I mean, I recently left this past May as the publisher. But it's doing some really amazing things. I'm very, very proud of it, and love that people love it as well. And I learned so much when I was the publisher there, just in terms of how a lot of the struggles that we run into is very subtle. Like, for example, having the difficult dumplings.
We have more food arriving
That we cannot eat yet, but we will. Thank you.
And our food is that's arriving is nice dumplings.
That's
so
right.
So maybe as we talk about Hyphen magazine, we can move into the next topic of your latest project with actress Lin Chen, ThickDumplingSkin, a blog about that. Actually, maybe you tell us, because I think you'll tell it better than I can.
Well, ThickDumplingSkin was basically launched in February because Lin had reached out to me. I had written an article for Hyphen about my own struggles with, wanting sort of the perfect body. And it was something that I hardly ever talked about, with people. And it's interesting because the thing about something that you associate with being shameful, it's like shameful to talk about it or to think about it.
Yeah.
So when, the editors at Hyphen really encouraged me to write about it, I did, and got really good response from that. NPR reached out and wanted to do an interview. And Lin heard it and decided that we had to connect because she herself was going through some of the same issues and had been in recovery for a while.
Yeah, we had chatted with her too and did an interview with her as well.
Yeah.
So for all of you out there, make sure you check out that interview that we did with Lin Chen. She talks about her own experiences and her motivation for wanting to get into the whole ThickDumplingSkin.blogspot.com.
And the funny thing is, like, the hardest part about that subject was, the hardest part about that project was coming up with a name. So eventually we settled on ThickDumplingSkin. You also have to check, like, which domains have not been taken yet. I think we had a list of them. And ThickDumplingSkin, as soon as she suggested it, it was just like, that's it, it has to be that. And we used the tagline, it's what's on the inside that counts, which I think goes very appropriately with the subject and with the dumplings themselves. So, we like it. It's catchy.
Yeah, I like it too. I think it's a great thing. So anyways, for all of you out there, make sure you check out the website, ThickDumplingSkin.com, and don't forget to support Lisa and what she does. She stays invisible, but just watch her. She's going to do awesome things in the future. And we're going to let you go because we have some dumplings waiting for us and some awesome noodle soup. And it looks so good that I think we should just end the interview and start eating. Sound good?
That's right. That sounds good to me.
Thanks for joining me today, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you for
and
having me.
don't forget to check out TaiwaneseAmerican.org. We'll see you next time. Bye. All right, let's eat.